Hello, Earth Angel, and welcome to episode 38 of the Devotional Drip, where we are exploring being a courageous chalice for the light. If you've never joined us before, just a little intro to the Devotional Drip. The Devotional Drip is a weekly personal development and higher self embodiment coaching series to support creatives, leaders, visionaries, and lightworkers like you on their nonlinear journeys and devotional paths of healing and awakening and empowerment and radical self care and revolutionary self love to support higher self realization, higher self awakening, and higher self actualization, and not to mention higher self embodiment in relationship to themselves, their journey, the world, and their purpose work. My name is Sarah. I'm a spiritual and somatic coach, creative consultant, photo witch, dancer, multidisciplinary artist, devoted mystic, and higher self embodiment doula, supporting visionaries, entrepreneurs, change making creatives, and heart based leaders through somatic, artful, playful, spiritual, and sensual portals and practices into self care that hits the spot, empowered self healing, sovereign self leadership, trauma informed spiritual awakening, multidimensional self expression, and higher self embodiment. If you find this video supportive, please like and comment with your biggest takeaways and revelations, and then subscribe to the Blood, Bone, and Honey YouTube channel so you never miss a drip. And you'll actually be notified to your email when we go live weekly. So that's just another way to stay in touch and stay in tune with all of the magic we are conjuring here at Blood, Bone, and Honey. Following this drip, I'll invite those of you who are in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot membership to join me for a corresponding higher self meditation to support you in integrating and digesting and applying what you received today in this drip. And if you'd like to join us, you can go to patreon.com/bloodboneandhoney to explore our membership tiers and join us. We also, at this time, have a corresponding weekly yoga dance class, a restorative yoga class, a mind-body centering chakra flow, and a private Discord community with all of the beautiful practices that we offer in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot. So there's always replays of our live classes. And we also have somatic movement prompts and journal prompts and playlists galore. And at this time, I think we now have about 30 members in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot, and she is growing every week. So we welcome you in if you're looking for a space to really hold you accountable to your practice, a space where you can connect with other leaders and light workers who are unapologetically claiming that they are their higher selves and they're going through this massive awakening and they're on planet Earth with a big purpose. And part of that in the Aquarian age is this claiming that we're also here to co-create our big purpose together in community, in unity. So join us in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot if you're looking for a space to be in your individual sovereign practice, but then also connect to other light workers and leaders and visionaries and creatives and entrepreneurs through the portal of practice, through the portal of higher self-embodiment, and from the consciousness of quite literally claiming like we are our higher selves. And then we're creating from that frequency, from that vibration, from that place in consciousness together. We actually have a live coven gathering this evening. So if you'd like to join us, you can join the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot to access that. And we come together and we share what's alive for us. And then I offer a deep higher self visualization, meditation, and breath work journey. It's also a journey where I guide you in doing energy work on your own energy bodies and subtle bodies and chakra systems. So even though I'm showing up here as a guide, my deepest intention as a guide is to support you in deepening in your own higher self embodied light working path. So we would love to see you there if that sounds like nourishment for you at this time. The last thing I want to offer is that I am going to be offering higher self embodiment ceremonies for anyone who's looking to come into a one-on-one space and have their own version of a personal devotional drip delivered to you from your higher self in co-creation with your higher self. We meet for a beautiful container on Zoom. I channel a guided meditation from your higher self. We do some work on your energy bodies as well as on your physical body. And then we pull cards to reflect and mirror and clarify what's alive for you at this time. So instead of just showing up for a devotional drip where I'm speaking to this collective of earth angels and light workers that we're a part of, we can go into this sanctioned, sovereign, higher self container where we are channeling your light codes, your unique guidance, your very specific messages from your higher self that want to come through at this time to support you. So if you're looking for a container to get clear, I am offering higher self embodiment ceremonies as we emerge towards the spring. And if you're ever looking for any of my offerings, what we're up to in the Blood, Bone, and Honey multiverse, you can go to bloodboneandhoney.com and check out what we're offering there. We've also got photo magic galore and all kinds of yummy things coming through the chalice of Blood, Bone, and Honey. So stay in touch, stay tuned, and always feel free to send me a love note. I'm also very available for conjuring custom containers. I know that we have a lot of really unique light workers in this coven. And so if there's something that you're looking to be supported through in a specific kind of container that I'm not offering or listing on my website, I function first as an artist. So the artist and the creatrix within me is always leading and guiding the coach and the practitioner within me to co-create containers with light workers like you who are really looking to embody their sovereignty and their higher self and the bigness of their divine purpose at a next level of like really radically claiming it. So if that's you, please feel free to reach out. I didn't even plan to say that. It's just sort of alive in the channel at this moment. So if I'm speaking into your heart, trust that message and send me a message, send me a love note. It would be an honor to hear from you. So today we are exploring this invitation to be a courageous channel for the light. I want to start out with a quote from Marianne Williamson from A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. And this is a quote that Pam Gregory actually offered on her Leo full moon astrology reading on YouTube. Highly recommend Pam Gregory's work if you're looking to deepen in the codes of astrology. And this is a quote that she offered on her transmission that I was just so inspired to share with us here today to set the tone, the scene, the frequency, and the vibration for this drip. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, goddess, source, universe. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure about you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest. We are born to make manifest. We are born to make manifest. We are born to be chalices for courageous higher self light. We are born to make manifest the glory of God, goddess, and source and universe within us. It is not just some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission. We embody the invitation on a frequency level, on a consciousness level, on a vibrational level for other people to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically, and I would say also atomically, liberates others. Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. So that's where I want to enter this conversation from. Our deepest fear is actually not around our inadequacy and our worthiness. There's actually this fear of our own light, of our own power that we're going to explore and sort of wipe the illusion of today in this episode of the Devotional Drip, then we'll be taking this transmission into somatic and spiritual practice in the Blood, Bone, and Honey pot this week. So that's our map. That's our map. And what I'll say is eventually the Devotional Drip is currently in process of growing herself into a podcast. So there's a lot evolving here, and I'm definitely being invited to allow myself to shine brighter, to be bigger. And as I am receiving that invitation in my own being, in my own chalice, in my own channel, I'm feeling so called to speak to that, because I know that whatever each of us are individually being activated inside of is connected to this larger activation that we're all being ushered and doulaed and midwifed through in consciousness, and also in a very real physical way on planet Earth at this time. So in this week's drip, we're focusing on pillar 6 from the 7 pillars of higher self-embodiment, our 7-step multidimensional self-care, self-realization, higher self-actualization, and ascension framework here at Blood, Bone, and Honey. Pillar 6 is accept. And it is connected to chakra 6 in the main 7 chakra system. Chakra 6, the third eye, is known in Sanskrit as Ajna. So we are working with this third eye chakra today, connected to the element of light, and also connected to being the bridge between light and matter. So there's a lot of translation that's happening in our third eye, and you can connect to this point physically and somatically between the brow point. And then I would invite you to also draw a line of light right to the middle of the brain and let yourself sense and feel the third eye at the center of the brain. The third eye is a bridge and a translator similar to the heart. And a couple of episodes back, we talked about our hearts being these divine translators. So I highly recommend going back to the last 2 episodes of the Devotional Drip, because there's going to be a lot of codes in those drips that are woven through this drip as well. The third eye governs insight, intelligence, intuition, imagination, visioning, seeing beyond the veil, seeing beyond matter, looking through this lens of light to sort of see what's going on, not just as a matter of fact presenting to us on the 3D level, but what's going on inside of that matter. What is allowing that matter to exist in the physical plane in the first place? That's sort of the alchemical space of the third eye. So we're seeing beyond matter of fact, into the potential, into the galactic and cosmic understanding of self and others, and multidimensional self-acceptance of the higher self, knowledge and information and intelligence and light being poured into you in all moments, and also being poured onto the planet and being poured into all of us. Because if we're in this invitation to accept our own galactic cosmic nature, intuition, psychic gifts, and higher self light, there's also this simultaneous invitation to see that, to recognize that, to know that in every single person that we come into contact with, that we're co-creating life with, whether that person be a stranger or someone in our family or our community. The truth is, we're all actually children of the divine, and we're all brothers and sisters, and we all come from the same great cosmic womb. So we're not actually strangers. Like we share so much of this human experience so deeply and so raw and in such a real way. So what a gift to see our light, to see our galactic nature, to recognize and know ourselves as our higher self, and then from that place of higher self knowing, relate to the higher self in all beings, in all moments, even if they're not expressing from that part of their consciousness, to relate to them as such, and to relate to ourselves as such, even in those moments when we're not operating from that point in consciousness, we're constantly anchored to it. It's like this galactic umbilical cord to our higher self that can never be broken. There's always nutrients, there's always intelligence, there's always information being poured in. And then we, in our higher self agency, in our human agency, in our free will, are deciding, okay, in my free will, am I going to choose to align with divine will? In my free will, am I going to choose to align with light? In my free will, am I going to choose to align with love? In my free will, am I going to choose to align with the divine will of my higher self? An initiator that can show up in the third eye chakra to bring us deeper into our power, because as we talk about in the Blood, Bone, and Honey multiverse all of the time, all of these things that register as blocks for us on our paths are actually portals to our power. So, an initiator or a block that can show up when it comes to deepening our connection with the third eye is this feeling of the illusion of separation from source, denial of our psychic gifts, and our ability to see beyond the veil, our ability to imagine or dream a higher vision for our life. It can also show up as some self-punishment, as sort of chaining ourselves up to this 3D reality that we've created so far and thinking we have to continue to live in alignment with what we've already outgrown, what's already out of resonance. There's like this sound I'm hearing on a frequency level. And when we hear that and when we feel that dissonance in the third eye, we are invited to align with resonance. We're invited to align with higher self-acceptance and then also higher self-forgiveness for the times that we have denied ourselves the ability to see, to hear, to feel, to sense, to know. Forgiveness for the ways that we have been programmed to gaslight ourselves out of our magic. Forgiveness for the ways that we have inherited and then lived from programs of unworthiness, or maybe even forgiveness for the moments that we have denied or judged or projected onto the light in others, and also the process of others or our own process. Because if we're judging an experience that someone else is moving through, that externalized judgment is always pointing us towards a self-judgment that we hold against our own natures. And oh, I'm seeing a little baby squirrel crawling out in the snow. Like me, myself and this squirrel who's literally sitting up looking at me right now, like this, making contact, third eye to third eye. Like, we are not separate. We are not separate. You and I right now, we are not separate. We are feeling each other. We are connected to each other. We are part of the living matrix of life. And actually, I know that in the spiritual sort of new age space, the word matrix is kind of used in this way to talk about like the matrix, like the 3D nature of reality. But actually, matrix holds the code ma in it and translates to mother. And so a matrix can also be a matrix of light. And in my experience, in my psychic sort of intuiting, I believe at this time there's this matrix of information that's been imprinted onto humanity with all of these codes and all of this information. Because the truth is, we are supercomputers. We are technology. Our human bodies is technology. We fucking created technology. AI and technology is here to serve us, to respond to us, and how we're here to create more beauty. So at this time, what I'm experiencing and what I'm being shown in this moment is there's been all of these programs that have been intentionally planted in each of us to keep us out of our worthiness and out of our power, because the matrix of consciousness as it stood on planet Earth has been upheld by codes of hierarchy. And at this time, we're being deeply invited into the spiral. And as we're being invited back into the spiral and hierarchy is dissolving, you may have heard astrologers and guides and teachers and peers in your community, and maybe you've even been speaking about like this tower moment that we've been brought through since Saturn moved into Aquarius in February of 2020. And we've certainly experienced that over the last couple of years of systems of oppression and structures and matrices of consciousness that were built on destruction, that were built on hierarchy, either grasping for their last breaths of oxygen in this desperate, violent way, and crumbling simultaneously. And we've been talking a lot about death and rebirth and regeneration on the drip. And as this matrix of consciousness is crumbling, and as the tower is crumbling, there's also this massive ascension and massive higher self rebirth coming to the front and to the center. And I truly believe that we've been brought through this initiation so that we can see that we don't need to be connected in the living matrix through suffering, through competition, through hierarchy, through winning, through gaining, through seeing who can climb higher, who can make the most money, who can be the most famous, who can be the most successful, because none of those things actually deliver us to happiness and joy and interconnectedness. It actually takes us farther away from each other. So as that hierarchical sort of individualist matrix is crumbling, we're being brought back into the mother, back into the ocean, back into the water, back into the spiral, back into the energy of creation. And we're being called to see and to honor and to believe. Third eye, talk about the third eye. We're being called to believe in what we can't yet see with our eyes, but we can feel is all around us. And I found actually this little prayer that I had in one of my books. I wrote this back at the end of 2019, and I was going through some like massive spiritual awakening at that time. I had just gotten married. The 7 pillars of higher self embodiment were coming through. We were getting ready to Saturn was getting ready to shift into Aquarius. I was living in Brooklyn in an old warehouse on a street with one tree. and I would go and pray to that tree every day. Mind you, that tree was like my bestie. And now I'm looking out and I'm just seeing all of the trees illuminated with snow. And I don't know if maybe you can see my squirrel friend out there. Where's my little squirrel friend? Up there in the trees, just kind of moving around, watching me, helping me translate these codes today. So I'm just pointing to sort of the difference in the physical manifestation of that moment to this moment. And at that time, I was manifesting this. I was calling this in, and now it's here. So that's pointing me to ask you, what were you manifesting? End of 2019, early 2020, that's now sort of pouring into the living chalice of your life. What's coming into form now as this old matrix of suffering is obliterated and we're no longer relating through suffering. We're no longer doing that. That's an old code. We are no longer trauma bonding. We are not here to relate and create a matrix of suffering. We are here to create and relate from a matrix of truth, from a matrix of love, from a matrix of understanding that we are all part of the web. We are all the children of the divine mother, of the divine father, of divine source, of great universe, of the great cosmic womb and black hole of nothingness that we come from. However, your consciousness wants to relate to that in your own unique sovereign intelligence, because we also don't all have to think the same way, speak the same way, digest the divine the same way. Because in the obliteration of the matrix of suffering, we're also obliterating the codependency of needing to agree all the time or use the same language. Like, we're all coming forward as intelligent, benevolent guides and shamans and ascended masters to deliver our unique codes on behalf of our own actualization and the actualization of everyone around us. Because as Marianne Williamson points to in this quote, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission. And rather than permission, I like the language. And here we go. Like, I'm reading this quote, but I'm like, yeah, permission, yes, but like, I'm feeling invitation to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. In my sovereignty, I'm translating automatically to atomically, because I just feel that's what's happening. Our embodiment invites people. It doesn't give people permission. It invites people, which is a form of giving permission. It invites people into their light. And then our presence, yes, automatically liberates others, but at the atomic level, literally at the level of light, our light is communicating with each other through the matrix, through the mother, through the great cosmic web and mystery that we were all birthed from. So We're in the third eye. We're in the bridge between light and matter. We are meeting any self-punishment, self-criticism, self-denial, self-censorship, as a portal, as an initiator into radical higher self-acceptance of our light and radical self-forgiveness of the times that we've turned away from that light. The vibe is the high priestess. The high priestess is hungry to go to the underbelly, to the underworld of the mystery in order to resource the codes of life in the darkest parts of her being, of their being, in order to ascend from that depth of darkness into a equal and opposite contrasting depth of higher self-realization. So she has to go down in order to come up. She has to go in order to shine out. I'm going to read this quote that not quote, but just little this was part of some like higher self spell work, manifesting work I was doing at the end of 2019 that I was mentioning earlier. And I just want to offer this today. I am willing to shift my emotion without the manifestation that justifies the shift. I am willing to shift my emotion without the manifestation that justifies the shift. I'm willing to shift my emotion before I see what it is that I've been calling in. I don't need to see it physically in order to believe and trust that it is coming in for me. And in fact, I know in my higher self, knowing that when I become the vibrational match and when I conjure and stoke that fire of my faith, what it is that I'm calling in is not only going to be magnetized towards me, but with even more ferocity, because I'm willing to shift my emotion without the manifestation that justifies the shift. The manifestation is a response to my vibrational alignment. The manifestation is a response to my vibrational alignment. I center the emotions that feel good to me. I center the emotions that feel good to me. I let go and I let things get better. I let go and I let things get better. I've also been liking it's getting better and better. It's getting better and better as a mantra, as a place to focus the third eye and the heart and the brain and the being on. It's getting better and better. It's getting better and better. Like that is such forward momentum, right? That creates so much opening versus like, oh my gosh, it's all still happening and it's all still hard. And here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. That energy is collapsing. That energy feels blocked versus like, I let go and I let things get better. It's all getting better and better. It's all getting better and better. That's also seasonally where we're being called as we ascend towards the spring. We're hitting this midwinter point of Imbolc, which is going to peak this week, February 1st and February 2nd of 2023. And as we're moving towards Imbolc, it's all getting better and better. It's all getting brighter and brighter. The sunshine and the light are coming in, even in the depth of the snow and the winter and what is frozen and unfreezing and melting at this time. May the snow melt, cascade within you, flow within you, waterfall within you with codes of higher self-resource and light. I listen to my inner being saying, come this way, come this way. I allow myself to be in alignment with source. I do the energy work first and then follow the joyful impulse to the action. I align myself vibrationally first and then I take the action. I don't take the action hoping that the action is going to align me. I align myself first. I do the energy work first and then I follow the joyful impulse to the action. I look forward to what I've put into the vortex. I look forward to what I've sent out into the living matrix that is interconnected with all beings, all species, all life, all breath, all light. I look forward to what I've now emanated, put into the vortex, put into the living matrix versus being beat up by the reality that currently exists. What we focus on expands. Are you focused on what currently exists right now, or are you pouring and looking forward and shining your light into what is currently being created? I am vibrationally prepared and love myself and others as Source does. I am vibrationally prepared and love myself and others as Source does. It takes a great amount of strength and courage and willingness to be a chalice for more of your higher self to pour into you. And we're going to talk about that now in relationship to the Leo full moon upon us on Sunday, February 5th, and Leo's connection to the major arcana in the tarot, which is the Strength card. I'm going to create a little more space. I'll throw my pelvis here. And at this time, if you have not grabbed a journal and you want to be taking some notes, if you want to grab your own personal deck and pull cards along with the codes that I'm offering here, or write in your journal what's alive for you, please feel free to do that at this time. So I just want to do a little astrological and holy days anchoring before we get into our cards. So on episode 36, I introduced Aquarius season and its connection to the star card and the major arcana. Highly recommend going back to that episode and checking that out if you're interested. Even if we're not in the Aquarius season portal as you're landing upon this drip, maybe your higher self is drawing you to that episode for a reason, because we are in the age of Aquarius, or maybe you have codes in your personal astrological chart that are connected to Aquarius. The devotional drip is channeled with the intention that no matter when you arrive upon this episode, it is here to support you in your unique blossoming as we collectively blossom as a cohort of earth angels and light workers who I believe are ancient and have walked this planet many times before, and also other planets. I believe that we are returning to this planet at this time for a reason, and we are part of the galactic information that wants to be channeled onto Gaia to support her ascension and to support the ascension of humanity, and of course, to support the ascension of our own souls. Episode 37 we talked about Imbolc, so last episode, and I highly recommend checking out that if you want to dive deeper into some Imbolc codes, but I'll just introduce here. The word Imbolc means in the belly of the mother, because at this time, in this midwinter celebration in the wheel of the year, the seeds of spring are beginning to stir in the belly of Mother Earth. I'm feeling called to just bring in a little pelvic circle on my bolster that I'm sitting on at this time as I channel this through. Imbolc means in the belly of the mother because the seeds are beginning to stir in the belly of Mother Earth, which also means that the seeds of our inspiration are beginning to stir within us to prepare us for the next season, just as the seeds are starting to gestate in the soil of our own soul. Imbolc is a Gaelic holy day, also known as St. Bridget's Day. And the peak of Imbolc is going to be February 1st to February 2nd, 2023. But we have been in this portal since the Aquarius new moon. And on the peak of Imbolc, the Gaelic people, the Irish people, the Celtic people, the Scottish people would light bonfires and have feasts. This week, we are going to light and tend to the bonfire of light within us in the blood, bone, and honey pot. On Sunday, February 5th, we have the Leo full moon, and Leo is deeply connected to the heart and the element of fire. It calls us into our courage, and in the major arcana, it is connected to the Strength card. And this is the translation of my Strength card from my very first deck that I was ever gifted back in 2016. It is the Mother Peace deck, and this was gifted to me by a teacher that showed up for me in my life when I was really asking for more ritual, more spell work, more connection with my higher self before I even had that language. And I just love the way that in this Strength card, this being is connecting with all of the creatures and the animals around them, giving this flower card. I'm giving this flower, it looks almost like a marigold or something, to this wolf, this creature that's maybe known as a predator. But this being on this card is making peace with the wolf, with the raccoon, with the rabbit, and all the other beings around, not judging any of the beings in their ferocity or in their gentleness. Honoring the strength and all of the different parts, all of the different reflections of this wild life within this being and also surrounding this being. And so I just love this card as like an image of how we can be in our strength. What if being in our strength was about embracing all parts of us? And then also embracing all parts of the journey, embracing the parts of everyone, honoring that everyone has a higher self and everyone also has a shadow self and programs that they're integrating. And if we can just accept that, if we can just accept that that's the initiation we're all going through, then maybe we can be in the world like we're always in the circle together, because that's really what's happening. And in some moments you're going to need to vomit and cry, and in other moments someone else is going to need to vomit and cry, and in some moments you're going to feel really courageous and in touch with your light, and then in other moments that other person across the circle might be feeling really in touch with their courage and their light. And through seeing them, like Marianne Williamson offered us, we are given permission, we are invited into embodying more of our light. So there's this energy of fearlessness, fearing less, choosing love more. Connected to the third eye, we can experience this as, are you seeing through a lens of love or are you seeing through a lens of fear? And that can be a really powerful meditation for each of us to drop into in all moments. Where are you attuning the matter of your brain? What neural pathways are you entertaining? There are infinite pathways that you could travel in the matrix and the spiritual technology of your mind. You can shift your thought, because you are not your thoughts. You are the one that has your thoughts. You are the one that has agency over your thoughts. So you can shift your thoughts to shift the emotion, to shift the energy and motion, to shift the feeling state of your being. Our heart is the connector to the cosmos. And our third eye is helping our heart translate this information that is beaming in as the aspect of our brain that's connected to the pineal or the pituitary gland. And there's a lot of cosmic and galactic information that comes into that space. And if that space is calcified by programming and also by chemicals in our water and in our food, like the manifestation of the third eye as the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, is very real. And there is a very real physical manifestation of all of our chakra points. And then in addition to the 7 main chakra system, we have up to 114 chakras in our body and 72,000 energy channels called nadis that are exchanging information between our subtle bodies, our energy bodies, and then also our physical bodies. So our heart is this connector to the cosmos, as is our third eye. They're working together in translation, just like in a supercomputer. There's different parts that are working together to translate information. The computer is a manifestation of us. We are the ultimate intelligence as an expression of the ultimate divine cosmic intelligence. And then we are co-creating this intelligence with our own intelligence, but it is coming from us. So our heart is the connector to the cosmos. And then there's this new cosmic and galactic energy that's attuning us to higher frequencies. And those of us who are willing to be chalices and channels for that information to pour through, it will, through our willingness, it will. And then depending on the resonance and the frequency we're holding, that's sort of the way that we're going to translate what's coming in. So there could be this high information, galactic information coming in that we all have access to, but then the way that that gets translated out is connected to the frequency and the vibration that we are embodying. It's connected to the beliefs that we live from. So we may be getting the same information can come through you in infinite ways. And then it can also come through those around us in infinite ways, right? So that's why it's important to be attuning to the frequency of the heart and really claiming higher self agency over our third eye capacity to see beyond the veil, because these places and spaces within us are helping us translate codes. And these galactic codes that are coming in are activating our hearts. They're activating our DNA. So we're quite literally receiving new information at this time. There's this attunement to higher frequencies, and we're evolving faster than we ever have on the physical level on planet Earth. There's this evolutionary shift that's happening quite literally at the speed of light. And one of my teachers this morning was speaking about there being no dress rehearsal. Like, we are just on this grand cosmic stage, and we are each being called to show up in this great mystery, in this theatrical expression of the cosmos in different ways, working together as one, just like a cohort of actors putting on a play or a musical. Like, we are here to work as one. And at different moments, some of us might have to play different parts to support the larger activation. And those parts might not feel comfortable for each of us in certain moments, but it is the call. It is the call. And the call is not to be comfortable. And Leo really is inviting us into that. It's inviting us into what? Being a courageous chalice for the light. And the light is not docile. The light is fierce. The light is unwavering in its desire, drive, prayer, and capacity to turn us the fuck on from all angles of our consciousness. So when we're brought into the depths, and this is what the high priestess knows, and this is what the strength card knows, when we're brought to meet the darkness and the depths, we know at the higher self level that it is about getting us in deeper touch with our light. There is no depth of darkness that divine source will bring you to that is not about you being more activated in your light, courageously, unapologetically expressed from that space. So there's this incredible institution called the Heart Math Institute that has determined that the heart's electromagnetic toroidal field is 5,000 times larger than that of the brain. The heart's electromagnetic toroidal spiralic emanating intelligent field is 5,000 times larger than that of the brain. So just feel into that. Let yourself see that on the third eye level, just the way that the heart is emanating and receiving so much intelligence. And the brain is here to be in sovereign service to the heart. So that could also be translated to the third eye. Let's say the third eye as the high priestess of the brain. It knows that it is here to defer to the heart. The heart sends more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. And the heart contains 40,000 neurons. And the Heart Math Institute refers to the heart as another brain. I also like to think about the womb as its own brain for those of us who have womb spaces. So if you've got a womb, we got the third eye as a brain, we got the heart as a brain, and we got the womb as a brain. And I would say, like, the body is just this brain, this intelligent being that is receiving information and giving information and translating information in every moment. So if we can make our decisions from our hearts versus our brains, we will make better decisions. We will choose positive, coherent emotions, because the more that you are there, the more that you allow yourself to be in an energy of expansion, creation, potential, possibility. Every block is a portal. The more you can expand. And guess what? The light is contagious. And light workers are here to be a lighthouse. We are here to be a lighthouse. I'm feeling really called to read a passage from the Sophia Code that's been showing up over the last couple of weeks. Around love, around divine love, and just like a code around divine love to really help us at this time. At the dawning of this next golden age, we are making ourselves known as mighty spiritual guides for initiating the genetic activation of humanity's sovereignty. Our presence is a powerful resource for clearing the global viral belief systems that hold up this matrix of suffering that we were talking about before, that would keep your entire species enslaved to voracious lies about ourselves, about each other, about the nature of life, about the nature of reality, and about God, about the divine, about what this shit is all about. We are here. We are here. This is page 307, key code 777, the Sophia Dragons from the Sophia Code. We are here to declare that humanity's next spiritual revolution is to reconcile with the divine inheritance of the Sophia Code, which is to say your galactic higher self DNA source blueprint, to embody its own sovereignty and to actively take up the mantle and ministry of Sophia Christ consciousness, which is to say Buddha consciousness, higher self consciousness, a consciousness that is unconditionally loving, compassionate, strong, fierce, alive, willing, awake, available, creation focused, love focused. We call this a revolution because it will require embodying an unconditional love. And here it is, that is wise, wrathful, devout, and resolute, to completely dissolve humanity's addiction to duality, right and wrong, bad and good, appropriate, not appropriate. I'm really feeling in this moment like you've earned it and you're worthy and you're not worthy. Like just that paradigm, that matrix of thought that we've all been conditioned into. Like it's just not real. What is real is that it's all true. It's all true at the same time. So as we're being called to be a lighthouse, here are some prompts I want to introduce to us. And we're going to go into a 7-card poll corresponding to the 7 pillars of higher self embodiment and see what comes forward for us. So definitely grab your journal at this time. And if you feel called to also have your deck and pull cards alongside of me with these prompts, you are welcome to. And then these prompts that I channel for the devotional drip are available in our prompts altar, our practice prompts altar in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot private Discord. So if you want to check in with those as you're watching this, I post them after our live transmission. So you can check that out in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot Discord. Write them down in your journal, do a card pull now, do a card pull later, or choose these prompts to work with every week. I choose 7 because they correspond to the 7 pillars of higher self-embodiment, but also because you could use a prompt each day of the week to support your practice. You could start with the anchor prompt on Moon Day, and you could end with the emerge prompt on Sunday to prepare for your new week. So in the Blood, Bone, and Honey space, I'm always introducing new templates and containers for us to really get in touch with our higher self-care at a next level of willingness, which is to say, get in touch with our truth, get in touch with what it is that we actually need and want and are being called to create at this moment and on our journey. So taking a little sip here of my bone broth. Our first prompt is, what seeds of inspiration are budding within me? What seeds of inspiration are budding within me? Feeling called to my faceted earth deck here. What seeds of inspiration are budding within me? So as I'm pulling these cards, I'm going to just envision a seed budding with light, budding with the resource of higher self power and codes. And I'm going to ask for some information, some intelligence to come forward for this cohort of light workers and earth angels around what seeds of inspiration are budding within us at this time. How are we being called to notice? What are we being called to notice? And also, like, I'm getting like, maybe you've already noticed this. What are you being called to claim around these seeds that are budding? Feeling this energy of like really claiming, like, this is my garden. These are my seeds. This is what's happening. So first I got the terrarium card. So this is really beautiful because I feel like it's giving us an image to point to, like, this is what's happening within us. We could maybe see this as the third eye, and we could see all these little plants in the terrarium as the different parts of us, as the different seeds of what wants to come forward. Then underneath that, I have the death card and I have quite literally the seeds card. And so just remembering that anything that's falling away is going to be a part of feeding the energy, like even like the snake is coming out of the mouth and going back into the skull, like anything that's falling away at this time, this is just an affirmation that it's pouring into these seeds. It's pouring into these seeds of inspiration that are budding within us. Then we have morning song. These seeds singing, these seeds calling us forward. So this just feels like an invitation that and an affirmation again of like these seeds that are budding, that are real. And then on the two sides of these cards coming forward, we have entwined and nocturnes. So I know there's a lot of messages coming through our dreams at this time. And if you've been having some dreams that you'd like to share, we have a dream altar in the Blood, Bone, and Honey private Discord. Share them there. Share your codes. Share what's been coming forward. I was in a space of sharing and translating dreams with some sisters in my community here this weekend. And it was really inspiring to feel into how interconnected we all are and how, like, yes, we're receiving information from our higher selves, but our higher selves are all connected through this living matrix of light. And so we're in the mystery school together, like we're in class together right now. And so the dreams and what you're receiving through your dreams might be very similar to what like another light worker is receiving at this time in their dreams. So this also feels like be in conversations with other light workers, with other leaders about what you're feeling inspired to bring to the planet at this time. Like our divine purposes are intertwined and interconnected. And so if you're being inspired to do something, that's not just connected to you and your purpose. It's connected to our larger shared purpose. This also feels like the way that your higher self wants to merge more with you. And to be a courageous channel for the light is a fierce, fierce invitation. Because to actually hold that much light, to actually claim, I am a chalice, I am a guardian, I am a terrarium, I have a song to share. I have, next card here, there are fountains of information that want to pour through me. There's all of this resource that wants to pour through me because it's about me becoming this lotus. It's about me creating miracles from the mud. It's about my spring awakening. It's about my awakening, but it's also about the awakening of this collective of light workers that I'm a part of, that we're a part of, that you're a part of. Anything that we're receiving, any transmissions that we're receiving, any seeds that we are being called to notice and water, any inspiration that is sparking within us is entwined and connected to the larger awakening that's happening at this time for humanity. And without the thorns, there can be no rose, right? Without the initiations into the darkness, without the mud, there can be no lotus. Without the mud, how are the seeds even going to manifest into being? Without the mud, the seeds can't grow. Without the watershed, without the emotions, without the clearing, maybe you're experiencing a radical clearing and purification at this time. The purification is part of the process, and it's also part of tapping you into your highest potential. So what seeds of inspiration are budding within you? The seeds that you're here to gather and steward into being on behalf of your own awakening, on behalf of the song that you're here to sing, which inherently cannot be disconnected from the awakening of humanity. So just taking a moment right now to maybe comb through the seeds of inspiration in relationship to your personal practice, the temple and altar of your personal practice, then the temple and altar of your relationships, and then the temple and altar of maybe your business and your creative work, and then maybe the temple and altar of your community and how you're being called to show up in that space, different from maybe the one-on-one relationships that also have seeds budding and tending. So we're being called deeply into our divine cosmic gardening nature so that we can notice the seeds, so that we can collect the seeds. And maybe there's some seeds that are budding at this time that maybe aren't meant to come into full bloom this year, but they're going to be a part of what's being seeded for the next 3 years, the next 4 years, the next 5 years. I'm literally going to weep in this moment. My mentor and one of my dearest cosmic sisters across lifetimes is here right now watching, saying, "Speak, Sarah." Thank you, Des. Thank you. So, yeah, yes, 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 yes. There are these seeds of inspiration that are just budding within us. And we're also here, I'm feeling into like sharing seeds and the importance of seeds. Like, and I feel full goosebumps in this moment. And I'm just seeing my friend Lily's cabinet full of all of these seeds that she's been collecting, and like how important the seeds are. Like, if everything was obliterated on the planet, we would still have the soil, we would still have the water, we would still have the sun, we would still have the seeds, and we would still have each other. And we could build something from those seeds. We could grow a new garden. So I'm also being called to just reaffirm, don't pay attention to what's composting right now. What we focus on expands. Don't even pay mind to it. Praise it, celebrate it, rejoice. Rejoice for the weeping, rejoice for the clearing. Praise praise the grief that is being cleared at this time, because the grief and those tears and all of that emotion is pouring into the seeds of your inspiration. So maybe in this moment, you pull a card specifically for what seeds of inspiration are budding within you. The themes that we have here are all sort of going into this collective terrarium to point you into like your seeds. What seeds are you holding? What seeds are you holding? I'm going to pull a supporting card from my Magdalene deck on this one. I'm just like feeling that deeply. So we're asking for a clarifying card around like the kind of seeds, the texture of these seeds of inspiration, connected to our purpose, and also like deeply connected to our interpersonal relationships. Like, I just feel so deeply the importance of relationship at this time. Hi, Wiggy. And the way that that is so connected to our collective resurrection. So I'm intuitively feeling there's like a resurrection of ideas and networks and ways of being and doing on planet Earth that were a part of ancient civilizations that we as light workers are here to, like, we've been holding these seeds in our soul. We've been holding these seeds in our soul for however many thousands of years that your soul was kind of gestating in between realms and worlds. And then I believe that you've been here before on planet Earth. I believe that you've lived other lives on other planets. And I believe that you're bringing that galactic information from these other planets, but also from your other lifetimes on Earth to resurrect those seeds, to resurrect those codes, to resurrect those seeds of consciousness. And you are being invited to plant those, to nurture those, to water those within you, because then you're going to have all of these blooms from this resurrection. And then you can joyously and abundantly share those blooms with everyone in your community, everyone around you, because there's no shortage. There's such abundance. I'm just feeling the energy of there being so much abundance. You don't even know what to do with it except let it just pour out of you. Those are the kind of seeds that are resurrecting within us from lifetimes past, And in this age of Aquarius, and then in this Aquarius season, like, I think we're really being activated, like, in our unique codes, in our unique seeds. What unique seeds have we been holding, harvesting, preparing, stewarding, tending for lifetimes? Whatever you're being called to do in this lifetime is deeply connected to what you've been doing for thousands of lifetimes, not just on this planet, but on other planets within the multiverse, not just the universe, not just one, in the multiverse. So What seeds of inspiration are budding within me? A resurrection of ancient future codes that are here to be watered deeply within you. Second prompt, how do I need and want to nurture them/me into being? Because if we're nurturing these seeds, if we're nurturing these seeds and these plants within our terrarium, where's my little terrarium card? She's gone because Wiggins is like really wanting to be a part of this. He's like, look, I was with you in ancient Egypt. Okay, Sarah. And I'm like, okay, I believe you. So how do I need and want to nurture them into being? I'm feeling my Starseed Oracle deck for this one. And so, yes, with this terrarium card, it's like, how do I need and want to nurture these seeds, which are inherently a part of me, into being? I was sitting in ceremony with some sisters in my community this weekend, and a lot of them are mamas. And there was a lot of reoccurring themes around like, when we show up to nurture ourselves, and our children can see us being nurtured, and that by way of them witnessing us being nurtured and fully resourced, like that nurtures their consciousness, because they get imprinted with the seed of consciousness that it is normal and it is good for my mother, for my parent, for the elders in my community to be nourished, because when they are nourished and they are taken care of, I am also being taken care of from a place of nourishment. So I just want to speak this into being around like our seeds of inspiration cannot be separate from us. So how our seeds of inspiration, what it is that we feel called to share and shine into this world, will only ever be as expressed as we are, will only ever be as nurtured as we are. Our projects, our seeds, our businesses, whatever we're called to create in this world, will always be a reflection and a mirror onto how deeply nourished we are. So we're asking in this second prompt, connected to pillar 2 in the 7 pillars of higher self-embodiment, which is disarm. How do I need and want to nurture them, these seeds, and by default, me, you, into being? Disarm is connected to chakra 2, the sacral chakra, also connected to the element of water. So we're in these codes of nurturing and water. How do I need and want to nurture these seeds, and therefore myself as the terrarium holding these seeds into being? Wiggins is like, you will shuffle these cards in alignment with where I place my body. He always tries to have me pet him as I'm shuffling cards. And maybe it's like I'm feeling like in this energy specifically, like maybe we can be a little more playful with it. Like, God, light workers, like, whoa, we really take ourselves seriously, right? Because we're here to transmit some really important messages at this time on the planet. And also the divine mother and the great cosmic source energy delights when we play in the garden. Earth is meant to be Eden, and like Eden was never meant to be demonized, nor was the snake, nor was the pursuit for knowledge, nor was the expression of sexuality. We can just look at the way that religion has sort of marked those parts and those things as bad, as sort of like in opposition to God, to see the way that we've been programmed and controlled to like reject that aspect of ourselves, to reject that aspect of life. I fully believe we are here to delight in pleasure and love and resource and each other and like orgasmic energy and ecstatic awakening and more food and more water and more shelter and more hugs than we could even ever receive in one day, because there's just so much abundance and love and resource overflowing. I truly believe that Eden and that energy of Eden and the garden that is always prospering is the energy that we were meant to live in and co-create with as human beings on planet Earth. How do we need to and want to nurture these seeds and therefore ourselves into being? This card is coming forward from the Starseed Oracle. Fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites and the extremes of life. So even our grief, even the deep cries, even the tears, Even the anger, even the frustration, even the lower vibrational emotions are here to nurture our seeds and therefore nurture us into our expression. So, we've been talking a lot about the importance of contrast on the drip. And in our higher self journey tonight, for the blood, bone, and honey pot for our live coven gathering, we're gonna like go into the depths to like really resource that light. I'm feeling like this oceanic journey, and I'm seeing like big sea creatures and kind of like primordial womb energy, and reconnecting to that nature within us. Like maybe it's in the depths of the ocean and the depths of the sea and the depths of the womb and the depths of the ocean and the depths of the darkest parts of our awakening that our light gets sparked. So I'm feeling the way that we've been brought through that in the last few years. And so to really like relate to whatever it is that we've been living through as a part of our ascension, like the darkness and the depths and Saturn and Aquarius and the pandemic and everything that's been sort of stirring and brewing on the planet, all of this darkness has forced us to be in deeper connection with ourselves, to be in deeper connection with each other. And I don't know about you, but in the moments of my deepest awakenings over the last few years, there has been this invitation to deeply surrender and fall into the arms of Source, to be in this childlike sort of wonder, not needing to know the answer, not needing to know what's going to happen next, but just ecstatically surrendering in tears, in laughter, in grief, in love, in joy, in pain, into the arms of Source, into the soil, into the divine cosmic birth and death that's happening at the same time. And to let the process water us, to let the process of awakening be the nutrients. So as we're nurturing these seeds and the terrarium of us into being, this other card coming forward is I'm sorry, defenselessness, writing past wrongs and uprooting. So that feels like not having a disempowering relationship to our past. In the third eye and in pillar 6 in the 7 pillars of higher self embodiment, we're in the codes of acceptance, which also means that we're in the codes of self forgiveness. And we have to forgive ourselves in order to move forward. And if we're holding on to resentment and we're holding on to anger and judgment towards other people in our lives, that's also going to show up as a blocked energy. Next card here saying surrender into the sweetness. Surrender into the sweetness. Venus energy, pleasure, joy, making love to life. Stay tuned for some Venus codes coming forward in a collaborative offering that I'm going to be doing with one of my dear friends, Megan Rising. You can find her on Instagram. She's an incredible astrologer. We actually grew up dancing together and went to the same elementary school and high school. And over the last 5 years or so have deeply reconnected. And now we're coming together to teach a class just before Valentine's Day around Venus codes and activating the inner lover. So I'm going to send an invitation out to Instagram and the newsletter around that this week. So if you're really like needing to activate your own Venus codes, sweetness codes, like in the midst of all this depth and darkness and awakening, like where am I specifically being called to activate my life? Look out for that masterclass. It is going to be so dope. She's going to teach us how to read our Venus sign in relationship to what house it's in. I'm going to lead some movement and meditation. We're going to co-channel a journey together. It's going to be epic. And there will also be a replay if you can't join us live. So stay tuned for that. And in this process of nurturing ourselves and these seeds into being, may we remember that we're here to surrender in the process of our growth. Like we don't need to know exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Maybe we try something. I'm feeling the energy of experiment and experimentation. And like if you were learning to be a gardener, like trying one thing and seeing how that goes, and then resourcing information from the community, and then maybe putting your ear to the earth and like listening to the mother. And maybe the answer is not in a book. Maybe the answer is not in someone outside of you. Maybe it's just in you getting still enough to put your ear to that seed, to listen to that seed. The next card here is star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, looking a little bit deeper. So this feels like it's calling us to spend time and be present with the seeds that are awakening, the seeds of inspiration that are awakening, and the way that we are meant to nurture them. They will tell us, just like a baby will say when it needs milk, just like it will say when it needs sleep, just like it will let you know when it needs touch. These seeds will let you know when they need something. And us, as the divine cosmic parent of these seeds, are here to listen. And that's mirroring what what our ancestors and what source and what our guides and our higher self are always doing with us. They're listening to the seeds that we are saying what we need. So I'm also feeling the way that we can be invited to speak our prayers out louder, task our higher selves, ask the divine, ask to be guided, ask for the signs, ask for the information that can't come from a book, that can't come from someone else. In the energy of Aquarius, it's like, what are your unique Venus nurture pleasure codes? So disarming from the way that it's supposed to be or should look like, and surrendering into the sweetness of discovering your pleasure codes. How am I being called to be in the process of galactic level growth is our next prompt. How am I being called to be in the process of galactic level growth? I'm feeling very specifically in this moment to actually not pull a card, but to read from the Divine Feminine Oracle, and to read Bridget's card, who governs this portal of Imbolc, this halfway point in the Wheel of the Year celebrations, corresponding to the Gaelic holiday of Imbolc. And I have deep Gaelic ancestry. My great-grandfather actually spoke Gaelic, and my great-grandmother was from Scotland. My great-grandfather was from Northern Ireland. And so I tend to get really activated around this time. And I really feel called to read from Bridget's passage for this card. Again, the prompt is, how am I being called to be in the process of galactic level growth? And let's see if I can also pull her card forward. Of course, she's right here waiting for us. And when I flipped over my deck, Mother Mary was waiting right there. So she might have some codes for us as well. So Bridget, how am I being called to be in the process of my galactic level growth? Bridget, the goddess of the eternal flame. I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. Who she is. Bridget represents the essence of an inner dawn and the healing that comes from knowing that the best is yet to come. We talked about, as we moved into this episode, meditating on the mantra, it's all getting better and better. It's all getting better and better. It's all getting better and better. And really focusing the currency of our consciousness there. Bridget represents the essence of an inner dawn and a healing that comes from knowing that the best is yet to come. So an inner dawn and a healing that comes from knowing, third eye, knowing, seeing beyond the veil, seeing beyond what's physically manifesting, not needing the physical manifestation to be in place in order to justify the emotional vibrational shift that allows the manifestation to actually come closer to you. She represents the essence of an inner dawn and the healing that comes from knowing that the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun card face up on my deck right now, but you ain't seen it shine. Maybe there's an aspect of your higher self light that hasn't even shined onto planet Earth right now. What if there's an aspect of your essence that's being awakened right now that's never even hit the planet? What if you're bringing in future codes to Gaia that have not yet been introduced to the Earth's timeline? What if the best is yet to come? Thank you, Frank Sinatra. Maybe we'll dance to that this week in Yoga Dance. Bridget is the goddess of pre-Christian Ireland. She is associated with the Indo-European dawn goddess and the coming of spring. She is celebrated in a Celtic festival called Imbolc that takes place halfway between the winter and spring solstices. Remember, Imbolc translates to in the belly of the mother, which is where we are right now, which is where the seeds in the soil are right now, which is where the seeds are in the soil and the terrarium of us right now. It is all but a mirror, my dear. It is said that at the moment break between dusk and day, at the moment between dusk and daybreak, at the moment between dusk and daybreak, think about that time, see that visually, feel into that energetically. Is that not where we are? Is that not where we are? In the moment between dusk and daybreak, Bridget arose into the sky with flames like rays of the sun blazing in her hair. There's a shrine near Kildare in Ireland that is sacred to the Druids because it was believed to have been a place where Bridget's priestesses tended to her eternal flame, just like we are being called at this time to tend to our flame, to tend to our hearth, to tend to the fire, to tend to the light within, to courageously allow the light to pour into the chalice of us and to withstand the holy shake of what it clears in the process of the entropy and the death. You can't make this up. Light is just the next one at the top of the deck here. The entropy and the death and the transformation and the thorns and the lotus and the mud and the dirt that's dug up and the seeds that are planted in this process of us awakening to the light. There's so much happening as light pours into us. It's a clearing, right? If we're going to take a bath in our higher self light, we're going to need to accept that there's going to be some soot, some dust, some silt, some mud. And that also, we need that compost. The flowers can't grow without the compost. They can't grow without the mud. So Bridget is showing us that we're here to tend to this flame. We're here to tend to this light. It's a daily process, and each day it's growing brighter. This is where Bridget's priestesses learned the ancient healing practices that are associated with Bridget. And this is where in 480 CE, Saint Bridget built a monastery in honor of the goddess and created a communal and consecrated center for women's religious life and learning. Bridget is associated with poetry and with all things elevated, states of being, high rising flames, lofty dimensions and elevated wisdom. Hello, third eye. Hello, Imbolc. Hello, ascension. Hello, bless up and return of the light. Blessing up to the return of the light. She is said to have created the whistle for calling out from one person to another while walking through the night, which lifts the wanderer with its levity and reminds her that she's not alone. When your soul selects her card, there's that moment when you're making your way through the dark and suddenly, after what feels like days or months or even years, a ray of light comes to you. Look at all those seeds that you've been collecting over years. You've been collecting the seeds that are sprouting at this time over years. A lightning happens. Each step isn't quite as hard as the one before, and you feel a great shift begin, as if now you're headed towards something new, something even brighter. Bridget is the essence of that first flame, that first ray of light. Bridget reminds us that the darkness never lasts. Bridget's eternal flame represents the truth that the light never leaves us and can never be extinguished. It simply gets obscured or blocked from us. I'm sort of looking at this Nocturnes card, this dream card, and then also our entropy card, which since has been moved around by Wiggins. But the way that can sort of get distorted, right? It simply gets obscured or blocked from us, especially when we're being brought to the depths of the ocean. It can feel like we're drowning when actually the descent is what needs to happen in order for the baby to move through the birth canal. There needs to be a descension in order for an ascension to occur in birth. We need gravity. We need to be brought down. We need to be brought into our bodies so that we can hold a higher resonance of light. She reminds us that every day is actually filled with light. There are many days and times in our lives when we endure thick cloud cover. This could also point to the different weather that moves through us in the form of emotions and how maybe that cloud cover in moments and that weather is important. Maybe we need the rain. Maybe we need the thunderstorm. Maybe we need the lightning. before the sun comes and shines upon us the next day. Because again, it's in the contrast. It's in the contrast that the higher self integration and embodiment actually happens. It happens in the contrast. When that flame exists within us is blocked by pain or confusion, Bridget is calling us to remember that every day is filled with light. Bridget is the sweet sound. We have that card, surrender to the sweetness, that reaches us in the dark and reminds us that we have never been on this journey alone. Bridget is the sweet sound that reaches us in the dark and reminds us that we have never been on this journey alone. We are connected through a matrix of light. Bridget is our sign that the dawn is here because we have made it through the dark of winter. We can lift our head. The healing has happened, and now each day is bound to be brighter. So this feels like this forward energy. How am I being called to be in the process of galactic level growth? We're being called to look forward. We're being called to focus on our light. The prompt here is, what allows me to feel light more often every day? So, in relationship to how am I being called to be in the process of galactic level growth, positive, forward thinking, so much endurance. Like, even if the most intense, insane, darkest thing happened to you right now, even if that is happening to you right now, Bridget is like, I will speak from a resonance of light over my life, regardless of what is happening in the matrix of form. I will speak from a matrix of light. I will speak from the consciousness of potential. I will channel from the love and the resource and the truth of my higher self. I will not focus on what is being destructed and think about destruction and think about how bad it all is. And I will not lament on the suffering. I refuse to relate through suffering. I will relate through potential. I will relate through love. I will connect through love. I will connect through light. And I will believe and I will focus on the light. No matter how dark it is, I will know, I will claim the knowing, and I will live from the belief that each day my light is growing brighter. It's getting better and better. Each day my light is growing brighter. We are building the new earth. It's getting better and better. It's getting brighter and brighter. And each of us focusing on that at the same time is what actually infuses the new matrix of the new earth that we are building. And it is a consciousness. It is a consciousness that anyone can choose to participate in, because we are all our higher selves. We are all living ascended masters, but then we have the free will of our human selves, right? So the journey of higher self embodiment is choosing, like, am I going to consecrate the free will of my human self to the divine will of my higher self? And then we are these bridge keepers for that consciousness within us, because we are then being called to be the bridge keepers for the world. From the old matrix of consciousness, from the old world to the new world, from a consciousness of hierarchy to a consciousness of spiralic relating, from a consciousness of leading from the mind to a consciousness of understanding what we talked about at the first part of this drip, that our minds are actually not, our brains are not emitting as much information as our hearts. I'm going back to my notes where we were talking about this from the Heart Math Institute. Our heart is actually quite literally emanating an electromagnetic toroidal spiralic field that is 5,000 times larger than that of the brain. So in this process of focusing on the light, Bridget is like, and it's growing brighter, and the heart is growing stronger, and you are emanating more light, and you are receiving more information every day. In every moment, we are being activated. We are being activated. So I'm also feeling the way in which we're really being called to be in our physical bodies. Like, if you want to anchor a higher consciousness in your body, then you're going to have to also allow the body to expand. So in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot, we're doing a lot of stretching and opening and dancing and also strength training. We're doing a lot of yoga. We're doing a lot of like tapping into our power at the physical level, because that allows us to actually hold a higher spiritual resonance, through connecting with our physical capacity to be anchored in our light. Next prompt here. What aspect of my higher self light can I courageously open to more of? What aspect of my higher self light can I courageously open to more of? Speaking of opening, I'm going to take off some layers. Also, check out these fun necklaces. This one was made for me by my little fairy friend Aurelia. It has a cat on it, and I've been really calling in the cat codes. She gave this to me last night, and I was like, I must wear this for the drip. And then this was made by another little being in my community named Asa, and it's just like bringing the rainbow codes. And I'm just like, yes, bless the throat, bless the high heart, because the children are also here, fully awakened and fully ready to like teach us a little something about where the earth is going and what is needed at this time. So calling in the children, calling in like the new star seeds and the rainbow beings that are quite literally arriving on planet earth and getting ready to like ascend into their next stage of expression at this time, as we also, as the guardians, those of us who are getting ready to become parents, or who are already parents, or who function as sort of elders and guides and mentors in the community. What can those little beings teach us about how we're here to show up? How can they remind us about our true nature? And then we have this prompt: what aspect of my higher self light can I courageously open to more of? Where do we punish ourselves? Where are we not letting that take up more space? Where are we being called to invite that to take up more space? I'm feeling my animal deck for this one. What aspect of my higher self light can I courageously open to more of? What is this? How is this collective of earth angels being called to open, to open, to open? Like seeing all of our little mouths and all of our little sacrums open. So first, we have the black egg card, which is connected to the throat chakra. This is calling me to call you to tune into episode 37 of the Devotional Drip, because we talked about our ecstatic higher self rebirth and how that's connected to the throat, and how every word we speak is a spell. We are speaking, we are spelling our reality into being. So this feels like us really claiming more power over what we say and what we speak. And what's so interesting is I've been spending a lot of time with children recently, and they really are paying attention to what we're saying in all moments and how we're saying it. And then they're mimicking it and they're copying it and they're exploring that and they're taking that in and really absorbing that. So this is also feeling like, how are we speaking about ourselves? How are we speaking about our lives? How are we speaking about our past? Is there a frequency that we can speak from that holds more light, holds more potential, holds more resource? Because the little ones within us are also always listening. Like as we speak, our being is intelligent and it's listening and it's wondering and it's absorbing those codes and that information. We also had the morning song card come forward from the faceted earth deck. I'm not even going to begin to find it. I just like have cards around me right now. This morning song, like we're here to sing our song. And so if the throat chakra is connected to the element of vibration and resonance, every time we speak, we are speaking an imprint into the field. Our words are creating an imprint in the field, and that imprint is vibrating out. So we could be saying something about someone and they're not even with us, but that ripple effect is felt outwards. And I know for myself, I could definitely be more, not even mindful of my speech, because we're like drawing ourselves into the heart today, and into the way that the third eye and the mind is here to be in service to the heart, but to be more heartful in our speech, to be more heartful in how we speak, for our words to quite literally hold more of that toroidal force of our heart in the words that we are translating out into the world, that we are transmitting out into the world. So I'm feeling like the way that we can open to, we're in the energy of the chalice today. And in that energy of the chalice is also a channel, right? So as we are being called to courageously open to more of our higher self light, we're speaking a lot every day, right? Like there's a lot of words that have to come out of our mouth. So to really claim the power of our speech. And if you're feeling like there's a block around communication in the throat, speak some powerful words onto yourself. Go on YouTube and Google some powerful I am mantras or I am affirmations and let yourself be spoken to in high resonance words and then speak those words over yourself. A mantra and an affirmation practice is also about shifting our own resonance. So last week in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot in our movement practice, we were doing a lot of attuning and singing and chanting together, because that quite literally shifts our internal vibration. So this is feeling like mantra practice, affirmation practice, sing your song, open your mouth, walk around your house in a moment of maybe feeling some darkness or feeling blocked around a creative project or what to say to a person or whatever's coming up for you around the throat. Sing your song, let the words come from your belly, speak out, shine out, let yourself make a sound, move your body, and let, like, if there's some like dense energy you're transmuting right now, let that come out of you in the form of a sound and like really ring it out. Like I have definitely been going through some deep clearings that have required me to sob and open and cry and make sound. And when you make that sound, it's also vibrationally leaving your body and creating space. So bring in the sound, bring in the mantra, honor your words as spells. And then the next card coming forward is the octopus, which I love because we're going to be working with the intelligence of the octopus tonight in our higher self visualization journey, which is like a deep shamanic journey that I guide the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot members into deeply within themselves to activate their own galactic shaman, priestess, higher self nature, and to, with all of the tentacles of the octopus, claim those codes and wrap ourselves inside of a cocoon and womb of love so that we can be malleable and reshaped like the octopus. I'm also hearing I'm feeling the invitation of, I forget what the documentary is called on Netflix, but it's like My Octopus Teacher or something like that. That could be a powerful meditation to work with this week as well. And just like feeling into the intelligence of the octopus and the teachings of the octopus. I also am feeling called to just give us a little code from the Kim Kranz deck here around the octopus. Because there's also this energy of the octopus can get kind of clingy, and there can be patterns of codependency that show up, or almost feeling like I'm intuitively feeling in this moment like you need to do it all, like you need to figure it out, like what we were talking about earlier, like I need to know what happens next. No, you don't. No, you don't. You just need to let yourself be this intelligent being with all of these tendrils and tentacles and antennas, and let yourself take in the information and trust that in the moment you feel called to speak, in the moment that you feel called to draw in and shift vibration to shift vibration, and to really vacillate in this space between having space to feed your own light and then letting your light be fed by others. Because we also have the fox card coming forward, which speaks to partnership and connection. The energy of the fox does not do well when it slips away from all its other little fox friends. So these feel like there's this balance between what we're speaking to ourselves, what we're speaking to other people, the way that we're tending to ourselves, the way that we're tending to others, and then the way that we're allowing ourselves to co-create together with our octopus tentacles. In some moments, do we have a tentacle of someone else wrapped around our neck that we need to sovereignly unwind ourselves from? Are we wrapping ourselves around someone's neck by accident that we need to withdraw in? Like there's just all of this, I'm just seeing all of these tentacles moving and reshaping. And then the way that when the tentacles move, there's also this imprint created in the field of water, right? And then that water is moving and the bubbles are moving and the water is intelligent. So I'm really feeling like this deep relationship between ourselves and then this relationship between each other and how we want to tend to that. This prompt again was, what aspect of my higher self light can I courageously open more to? the way that we are interconnected and entwined with our higher selves and source, and then the way that we are interconnected with each other. And that's a courageous opening to really own, like, wow, I am deeply connected to my higher self, and I am also deeply connected with every other living being on the planet. In my experience, at least, that does shift the way that we relate to each other and life at large. Like, even the way that we like shuffle our cards or like tend to the dishes, like, are we slamming and breaking things and moving about, and or are we in a walking, living, breathing meditation? Like, not that we need to be gentle and docile by any means, because as the Sophia Code passage pointed us to earlier, like, the light is devout and sometimes wrathful, but just to be heartful, to be mindful, to let our mind be full of the frequency of our heart and our higher self in all that we do. This feels like opening to our power, the power that we have to imprint in the field. Then expression. What are my unique galactic gardening codes to support my higher self expression? What are my unique galactic gardening codes to support my higher self expression? I'm feeling my Magdalene deck again. Actually, you know what? I'm feeling my Cosmic Dancer deck. Magdalene, we may come back to you. So, what are my unique galactic gardening codes to support my higher self expression at this time? How can we courageously let ourselves embody more of this light? What gardening codes do we need? What needs to move with this Cosmic Dancer deck? And how does it need to move? That one just slid right out for us. Dance right into being. Fine tune. So I've been getting this energy, this whole drip of like these seeds that are sprouting, we've been collecting for years. We've been collecting these seeds for years. Now we have this sort of treasure chest and terrarium of seeds. What are our unique galactic gardening codes to support our higher self-expression around these seeds? It's a time of fine-tuning. I'm just going to shout out the higher self-embodiment ceremony at this time, as one of my offerings, as a container for you to come in and fine tune like the seeds that are wanting to come into being, the seeds of your offering, the seeds of your relationships, the seeds of your vision. Where are you being called to fine tune? What's your birth process around that? The code of being a higher self-embodiment doula came in for me so loud a few years ago, because I truly believe that we need a doula and a midwife. We need team to support us in our birth. Not that we can't ecstatically birth also alone and unassisted, but even in an unassisted birth space, to have a doula, to have a midwife, to have someone there to get you water, to mirror back your power to you, to, in that moment of thinking like you can't do it, to reflect back to you, yes, you can. It is time to push. Like, that is also ancient. That's also about the ways that we're interconnected. So whether it be with me or another guide or mentor that you're drawn to, let yourself be supported in the process of fine tuning. Fine tuning. I'm also feeling like, what are you going to give attention to? And like the spiritual maturity it requires to attend, to tend, and to do that consistently. When we're fine tuning, it requires us to show up consistently. So if you need some support in that, please come into a higher self embodiment ceremony container, or come into a private mentorship container. These are the big containers that I'm offering at this time. And I'm going to be talking more about this on Instagram and the newsletter in the coming weeks. And as we ascend toward the spring equinox, as these seeds start to awaken even more ecstatically from the soil. And I don't even want to say I don't have the words. The words that I have to offer around how much mentorship and containers have supported my life are: we were never meant to do the process of awakening alone. We're not meant to be alone. The programming of this world would have you think that you have to keep it secret and to yourself and you can't share it. And like, it just has to be you and you just have to grow it. And if someone else helps you, that means that somehow you're giving away your power. I mean, clients will literally say this to me when they come into a container, like, I feel like I should be able to do this on my own. And it's like, you are doing this on your own. You're the one birthing it. I'm not birthing it, but I'm here to help you do that. Just like I have had so many mentors help me birth myself and birth my offerings. And guess what? I continue to have them. I continue to call them in. And what is so beautiful over time in a mentor-mentee relationship is that relationship can also change form and take a new shape. So if you've worked with me before in private mentorship and you're looking for a new kind of container, reach out to me, because I'm also in a moment of feeling very available to conjure custom containers in a co-creative way. Because again, we're here to bring the seeds of our prayer into manifestation together, in unity, in community. We don't need to have all the information about what it's going to be. Like, maybe there's a bouncing off and a mirroring and a co-creative space you need to let yourself come into in order to higher self realize at that next level. Like, we cannot heal, we cannot ascend, and we cannot grow in isolation. The seed is never isolated from the soil. The soil is not isolated from the sun. The sun is not isolated from the water. They are working together in the terrarium to support the seed. You are the seed, and then you have all of these seeds inside of you. How do you need to be supported at this time? In response to the prompt of what are my unique galactic gardening codes to support my higher self-expression at this time? Fine tune. We'll do some tuning and fine tuning and attuning in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Pot this week in our movement, in our meditation, and also in our coven gathering. The octopus card also points to like yearning for direction. And like, we also have the right to ask for directions, to look to people who are also walking the path, who are maybe even walking a walk we want to be walking, and be like, hey, how'd you get there in your unique gardening codes? Can you share some of those gardening codes with me? Because yes, my code is unique, but we all come from the same cosmic womb. So there's a chance that brother, sister, cosmic sibling, you've got some info and some intel, some intelligence that you can also share with me. And then maybe there's a way that you're also being called to share information and intelligence with other people, and it's all happening at the same time. Second to last prompt, what aspects of my goddess-given gifts can I accept with deeper reverence and resonance? What aspects of my goddess-given gifts can I accept with deeper reverence and resonance? Feeling this Magdalene deck again. I dropped some of them on the floor, so let's grab those. So, what aspects of my goddess-given gifts can I accept with deeper reverence and resonance? Tune into your third eye as I pull this card. See a light at the center of your brain. What aspects of my goddess-given gifts can I accept with deeper reverence and resonance? Okay, we have little children, we have liberation, and we have ascension. What's awakening right now that you were in touch with as a child? What's getting liberated that you were already embodying? I'm getting like childlike nature. What gifts did you feel in touch with as a child? Or what gifts maybe were you even punished for sharing as a child? Like, how was your light as a child dimmed? Which is a tender meditation to go into, but what light was dimmed? How was your light dimmed in childhood specifically? What codes does your inner child have to have about the dimming? What codes does your inner child have about the dimming of that light? Because if they have the codes about the dimming, they also have the codes about the liberation. And I think this is why also that Black Egg card came forward, and we're really being guided to like not speak death, destruction, low vibrational messages into our being and into our life. We're like really being called to speak life into ourselves, speak life into the child, speak life into our gifts. There's a cycle completing right now that got activated in 1993, which is ironically when I was born. And Saturn is about to move into Pisces in March. So we're going to be brought into these codes of like deep liberation of our vision, and whatever you were told was not possible. That's not possible. Magic isn't real. That's not realistic. Like all of that programming of this world, that matrix of suffering is being busted open, and our light is ascending. We are ascending. That's what's happening. We are ascending. That's why we're doing higher self embodiment. That's why the earth is going through all this. It's because we're in a process of ascension. And in this ascension, what aspect of my goddess given gifts can I accept with deeper resonance and reverence? The gifts that you were born with, the little inner child, and the codes that that magical inner child holds at this time is getting activated. So for you, what were you so in touch with? What were you so excited about as a little being exploring planet Earth as this intelligent, organic matter merging with spirit? What were you ecstatic about as a child? What could you not draw your attention away from? Do some journaling around that. And inside of that, you will be pointed to how you're being guided to express your gifts. We're bringing the child along for the journey because they hold some of our most magnetic, metamorphic, higher self codes, because the child does not judge magic. It is the aspect of our innocence that was not touched in our suffering and could never be touched. It's like that. It's that eternal flame that Bridget was speaking about. Like, yeah, sometimes it may have been encroached upon, and sometimes people might have tried to throw some water on that fire, and maybe it felt like it went out completely, but it never actually did. And at this time, you're being invited to liberate. We're all being invited to liberate our light at that level of our consciousness. Last prompt: how can I ascend while staying rooted in the soils, sand, and oceanic womb of Source? I'm feeling an angel card. And this is our last card before we transition into our higher self meditation for today in the Blood, Bone, and Honey pot. How can I ascend while staying rooted in the soils, sand, and oceanic womb of Source? We have Layla. Spend time alone in nature, meditating about your desires and intentions. Ask the angels to help you gain a positive perspective. Rosetta, you have a gift for working with young people, and your divine purpose involves helping, teaching, or parenting young children. We brought in the children so hard. So whether that's children outside of you in your community, as we're all meant to be connected to as human beings who were once children, like in the village, like we would know all the children. We would be there for the children that weren't even the children that came through our wombs, but we would be with them. We would know them. We would know their names. We would know their feelings. We would know their dreams. So this feels like a call to connect with your children, the children in your community, and then also the child within you. Last card, Rochelle, as you honor and follow the guidance of your heart, prosperity is coming to you now. Stay rooted in the heart. Spend time in nature. Don't forget the children, your child or the children that surround you. They hold unique codes. They're a part of this galactic ascension. And we need to actually resource those playful codes and those codes of absolute ecstatic magical liberation in order to let ourselves dream the ancient future and the new earth that is arriving through each of us as a chalice, as a birthing channel for this light and for this high holy information to pour through, because we are intelligence. We are supercomputers. We are transmitting and transferring this information in real time. I hope that this episode of the Devotional Drip was supportive and inspirational and allowed you to get in touch with the way that you are here to be a chalice for the light to pour into, and a little bit more about what that might mean for you on your path at this time. And again, if you're looking for support, bloodboneandhoney.com or patreon.com/bloodboneandhoney for the membership. I will see those of you who are going to join us on our higher self meditation on our Zoom link in a few minutes. And if you're joining us on YouTube Live or on the replay, please like and comment and share your divine downloads, your pearls of wisdom from this drip, anything that came forward for you, and subscribe to the Blood, Bone, and Honey YouTube channel so you never miss a drip. And please also share this with your community, with sisters, with brothers, with cosmic divine siblings in your network who could use this transmission, who could use this infusion at this time. And it is an honor to co-create a living matrix of higher self, resurrected, realized, actualized light with you on planet Earth at this time. It is a deep gift, and you are a gift. And I'll see you on episode 39 of the Devotional Drip. Many, many blessings. Bye for now. Namaste.